What's up, guys? It's Tuesday night. You guys know what time it is, right? It's time for the PreGame Blitz, your weekly Tuesday night event talking about all things high school football. And we're starting to add a little short segment during the show to talk about our favorite college teams. And everybody knows that's the Georgia Bulldogs. Right, Cole? He's ready to battle it out in the backstage area. Guys, I'm Larry Goblin, your host. I've got our super fan Cole Moore waiting in the wings in the backstage area. We'll get to Cole in a second here. Just let him languish in virtual cyberspace there for a while as we talk about. Now, if you've noticed, if you weren't here last week and you're just now tuning in this week, you may have noticed that, yes, I am getting shorter. It's not due to me getting older. Cole is still making fun of me, right? Because I haven't gotten my office chair fixed yet. The little hydraulic lift or whatever has broken, and I just cannot get this lift in the chair to stay up. But, hey, that's my problem, not yours. I got to go sell another sponsorship so I can get another chair. That's just basically the way it is. It's either that or go get my dining room table chair in here and sit in that, which may actually be more comfortable at this stage. But anyway, that's not what you tuned in for. You tuned in to the best high school football. Really, I should call this the best football show because we are expanding beyond just local high school coverage, talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, Florida Gators. If you are some Tennessee fans out there, Auburn fans, let us hear from you. We'll talk about them too, because it's an exciting time if you're a football fan right here, right? So before I welcome Cole onto the screen, let me go ahead and thank some of our sponsors. Pepsi Bottling Company right here in Valdosta, but this is not a Valdosta brand. This is a worldwide brand. If you haven't tried Pepsi, what in the world are you waiting for? Most of you have, and most of you love it, according to all the sales numbers, right? So whether it's Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Mountain Dew Energy, my personal favorite, Mountain Dew Spark, whatever your flavor of choice, Pepsi Bottling Company's got you covered. Thank you so much to Pepsi Bottling Company for believing in what we do here. We want to thank our friend of the show, Tim Neesmith, with A Shade of Perfection. Guys, if you need to beautify your home in terms of curb appeal, you need to take a serious look at how your windows look from the road. And if you need some extra help in blocking sun and cooling down your house in the form of custom shades and blinds, Tim Neesmith is your guy. 251-3479. He's not just for the local Lowndes area. This dude works all over the place. If you have the need for custom shades and blinds, he will travel to you. ashadeofperfection.com is how you can get in touch with him, or call the phone number on the screen. We also want to thank these guys, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin. They have a variety of migraine and back pain treatments, and it's midway through the season, so many of you know what migraines are all about. If that's the case, go see the certified headache medicine specialist, Josh and Justin, at the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. A little bit later on the show, we will roll out the winner of this week's Migraine Moment, sponsored by the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta. And we'll get to other sponsors as we progress along the show. At this point, let me go ahead and bring on our super fan, Cole Moore. Cole, hey, man, Cole, you are feeling pretty good. You either got a lot of sleep, which is probably pretty rare because you still have a brand new baby in the house, or you're hyped up on an energy drink, or you just living life right, man. Or you could be just pumped up on how TCC's been doing.
Yeah, I mean, TCC is 6 games in, 6-0, undefeated.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yeah, and I've had some Valdosta. This is how you know Valdosta fans may not be saying nothing about the show, but they watch. They have been calling me all, this whole weekend and said, Cole, what's your pick? What's your pick? What's your pick?
We know they watch. One of those Cat fans, Daryl Britt, says, LG, Valdosta by 40. Ooh, by 40.
I'll tell you, their head is this big. You remember those, I don't know, it's been years ago. I know as a kid, if you're a 90s kid, the old Airhead commercials it's the Gusher commercials where their head gets so big.
Right.
That's the Cats right now.
Yeah, whether it's the Valdosta Wildcats or the Kentucky Wildcats, if you're a Wildcat fan, you're feeling pretty good. You're feeling pretty good right now.
Oh,
I said that just for you, Cole.
God, that hurts.
Listen, Ben Beam up in Warner Robins area. He says, "Is Central undefeated?" I think he's been a little facetious there.
Hey, tell him. He'll find out come the last week of the season. Because we're gonna bring we're bringing the whole county with us. Don't worry about it, buddy. We'll be there.
That's right, man. That's right. So, Cole, last week was kind of a crazy week because it was games played Wednesday night, Thursday night. Some games were canceled. Some games were played this Monday night in the case of Appling and Pierce County.
I was getting ready to watch some football. I was getting ready to watch pros, and if you ever had a conversation with myself, I'd rather watch high school than pros any day of the week.
Yeah.
So somebody's like, yeah, Cole, it's a Monday night game in Baxley. I'm like, what?
Oh, right. So listen, dude, I think the biggest game, well, there was a couple big games last week, but one of the biggest ones in this area that got played on Thursday night was Lee County and Houston, right?
Yikes.
So Houston went over to Leesburg feeling pretty good. I think they were undefeated going to that game, high flying offense. But as many of us expected, they ran into that Lee County defense. Lee County, with the exception of the blemish to Colquitt County, which was a close game until later into fourth quarter, right? So Lee County looks like they're just as strong as ever.
Well, I mean, Houston ran into a buzzsaw. Us media guys, LG, we've all talked about, Hoco's this, but let's look at the strength of schedule. We hold on to that strength of schedule.
Yep.
One of the worst in 6A. They ran. I'm going to tell you, it was their defensive line for me, right? I mean, Hoco's defensive line, I don't know. I know Cromar, and I hope I'm saying the kid's name right. He is phenomenal. Maybe by the time he's a senior, will possibly be one of the best running backs in the entire country.
Yeah.
275 yards on the ground. I think 6 touchdowns. I'm not sure. But he took over the game. Now the sophomore quarterback, very tall kid, he played well. Yeah. He played well. I can't think of his name. I don't.
Were you impressed of how well he played, considering that was his first time? That was his first start.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was impressed because it was built up as this huge football game, and it was at the time. He handled the pressure well, but. I'm not knocking the kid because I think he played well, but it also helps when you got one of the best running backs sitting back there just gashing the defense for 60, 70 yards at a time as well. He managed the game very well. Kudos to that kid. He managed the game very well. Houston County has definitely got to go back to the drawing board on that defensive front. They got absolutely gashed.
Yeah, here's speaking to your point earlier about strength of schedule. Cole, I'm just more and more convinced that a stronger strength of schedule, especially during the non-region, helps you when it comes to region play. You're not a paper tiger. You could be 5-0, 6-0, hardly play anybody, and then just get blown away during the region schedule. Now, speaking to your point, Houston County entered that game with a 22.3 strength of schedule. Lee County almost doubled that at 36.6.
Yeah, Lee County was ready. They have played some tough opponents, okay? And when you play a Colquitt County, no offense to my Lowndes buddies, because I'm trying to get back on y'all's, get in love with them, but they're the darling of South Georgia football right now.
Colquitt is, yes.
Colquitt is the, when you talk about, South Georgia football right now, they are the guy,
They're the dude right now. As far as rankings goes, what their number in the top 5 of the state, probably number 3, something like that. I can't remember exactly.
I usually see between second, around that third, number 3 spot. And Colquitt's playing well, but this region time now, boys, it's time to tighten that chin strap up and let's go play some. This is what it matters. So, again, Lee played Colquitt, and dude, this was a ball game. Okay, I want people to remember, this was a ball game, and Lee did self-destruct. I don't care what anybody says; they self-destructed.
They did.
So they were in it with Colquitt County. So when you start talking about Lee County, and people, I've heard people say, well, maybe they're overrated. Yeah, they're like, man, they lost to Colquitt.
Yeah, they're not overrated. They're not overrated. So listen, what is a pregame blitz without talking about probably the team? You remember back in the 80s, the Dallas Cowboys was called America's team.
Yes.
Listen, I am branding.
But I was born in the 90s, but yeah, I've heard about it.
Well, okay. Thanks for bringing me into reality. So, do you remember when your granddad used to talk about the Cowboys as America's team?
Yes. No,
okay. Yes. One of these days, Cole, you're going to be as old as I am. And you're going to have a show like this, and there's going to be a young whippersnapper on there and says, Mr. Cole, I just don't remember that. That was before my time. Man, oh man. Thanks for making me feel my age there, buddy. Listen, I am branding. I am single-handedly branding, Cole, my alma mater, Berrien Rebels, as Georgia's team.
What?
I am branding the Berrien Rebels as Georgia's team.
Huh?
Yep. Because listen, my Rebels are flying high right now at 4-2. Right? They are. The Braves have a magic number of 1, right?
Yeah.
To clinch the division. So the Berrien has a magic number of 2. Win 2 more games, 2 out of 4. And you will have your first winning season since 1995.
Look, so
they are Georgia's team. What's that?
So have you got in touch with Coach Allagood and told him if he wins 6 games, you got to carry him out to eat? So
I haven't yet.
If you don't do your due justice, I know some people that know Coach Allagood, and I'm gonna make sure this connection gets going.
Trust me, I know plenty of people that know Coach Allagood.
Yeah,
Coach Allagood knows exactly who I am.
Hey, so Coach Allagood, I know somebody's watching, but he's made this wager, and make him carry you to Ray's Mill Pond.
Listen,
okay?
I think my commitment was if Berrien has its first winning season this year since 1995, really, right? My wife and I will take Coach Allagood and his wife out to dinner at Ray's Mill Pond and Jack's Chop House, wherever they want to go.
Hey, make it happen. It's live now. You can't go away from it. Hey, so
as a matter of fact, if and when that happens, we may go live for about 5 minutes that night just to prove to the pregame Blitz Nation that I'm a man of my word.
Hey, but that's interesting. I was 3 years old, and I was 3 years old the last time Berrien had a winning season. That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. Hey, last thing I'll say about Berrien, I think, for tonight's show is, listen, Berrien won that game 42-24 over Jeff Davis. And it was one of the craziest games. Berrien had 2 kickoff returns back for a touchdown. That's 2. Cole, on top of that,
the punt.
They had a punt return for a touchdown. I'm actually going to show the video of the punt return for a touchdown. It's one of the craziest punt returns I've ever seen. Check this out.
What he was doing. I don't know if that's his style.
Courtesy of the Berrien Network.
It's awfully close to the end zone for him. Yeah, I would think he just tries to get it off almost like a pooch kick.
Yeah, it's almost
he
like
he's trying to get it out.
Almost past the line of scrimmage when he kicks it.
So Lamar Riley back deep for the Rebels.
Check out this punt.
Motion.
That ball went straight up in the air. Watch this. Watch this.
There you go, Logan.
That's a touchdown.
Oh my gosh. That was a hoot, man.
Maybe this is a sign that Berrien is going to win 6 games.
Could be, man. Could be. So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot to I've seen crazier stuff in my lifetime, but that was one of the craziest punt returns for a touchdown I've ever seen. And that helped. I think Berrien was actually losing at that moment. And so that was like a huge momentum swing. So anyway, enough about Berrien. Let's talk about other, Region 1-7A was pretty much off. Colquitt had a game. They defeated Lincoln out of Tallahassee, Florida, to go 6-0 on the year. They were the only team in Region 1-7A to play. Now, that's not the case in Region 1-6A. You guys had a full slate, although it was playing earlier in the week due to the hurricane, right?
Yeah, man. 1-6A, man, we got officially region started, man. As far as Central goes, I will say this, man, we were fired up. We had I'm telling you, we had a really good turnout for Wednesday night crowd. And we came out sloppy. We were hyped up and everything, man. Had a fumble early. And next thing you know, I think 2 plays later, Veterans punches us in the mouth, and they're up 7-0, and we're sitting there like, what? It was the first time Thomas County Central had trailed all year, but Central would respond, and they would score. I think I can't remember how many more points in a row, but it was 34-7 at halftime. Ended up winning 48-21 to go 1-0. Old Blue is still having problems.
Yeah, they have. Speaking of Tift County, they're 0-1 in the region. They're 1-5 overall, right? And this coming week, Cole, they're taking on their host. They're going to be hosting your Yellow Jackets. Should I say your Tift County Blue Devils are hosting your Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets?
Hold on 1 minute.
All right. Do I need to take you off there? What in the world? Hey, that's the deal with a live broadcast. You never know what's going to happen. I have a suspicion that we were probably being too loud for the baby, maybe trying to sleep. I'm not sure. So while we're waiting on Cole to return, let me check out the White Oak Investment comment line. Greg Maddox says Berrien will have to beat Sumter and Dodge because they're not going to beat Cook or Fitzgerald. Greg, beating Cook and Fitzgerald are tall orders. No doubt about it. So I'm in agreement with you. They got to beat Sumter and Dodge. It's kind of like the Braves over the weekend. They had to sweep the New York Mets, right, to have a shot at basically winning the tiebreaker if they end up tying with the Mets for the regular season lead. So Berrien basically finds itself in a similar situation. They got to win. They got to beat Sumter and Dodge. Can they beat Cook and or Fitz? Yeah. Any given night, any team can win or lose, especially in high school football, especially in AA football, right? So is Cook really good under first-year head coach Byron Slack? Yes, they are. Is Fitzgerald really good under state? Let me for you Fitzgerald fans, y'all listen close. I'm going to say it out loud so everybody can hear it. Is Fitzgerald really, really good under state champion head coach Tucker Pruitt? Absolutely, they're really, really good. right? So Berrien's got a tall task. Chad House is get anything. Listen, anything can happen. Absolutely. Claudia Maya says, y'all are a hot mess. I agree with you, Claudia. So let me bring Cole. Everything okay?
Man, I'm so sorry. My wife is on this diet, and UPS ran late today, and my wife was calling me. I'm trying to do the show. I'm not very good at multitasking. I apologize to you and the audience. I had to go get that package.
I understand. Listen,
Yeah. So
if you had to choose between keeping your wife happy or this show,
yeah, I gotta
keeping
go,
your
man.
wife happy.
See you.
Listen, man, been married, in just a couple of weeks. This will be our 29th wedding anniversary for Ellen and myself. And I know exactly what you're saying. You got to keep your wife happy.
Yeah. So, go back to what you're saying. I think you said something about my Tipp County Blue Devils are hosting my Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets. This is interesting, right? I think some people at Central are upset because they are homecoming.
Yeah.
Me and you know the beef between these two coaches.
Yep. There's some not just on the football field, but there is I don't want to say a major dislike, but I don't think these two coaches really care for one another.
No, they don't. And I think this is going to work in Tifton's disadvantage. I didn't think this game was going to be close. I don't think it will be either. I think it'll be an early night and a running clock. I think Central's probably going to beat them by at least 40.
Listen, I don't know these two coaches at all. Just basically what I've seen in the newspapers and I've read, and people have called me and told me what's going on behind the scenes, that kind of stuff. Listen, Noel Dean is under this is no secret. Noel Dean is under a tremendous amount of pressure to win, right?
Yes.
And this may be one of his best chances to win a region game. You got a brand new team in Region 1-6A that just came up from 4A. So on paper, before you started the season, Tiff County should have beaten TCC.
Yeah.
Now, the dynamic has totally reversed, but the fact remains, Noel Dean is under a tremendous amount of pressure to win. That's no secret.
No.
He wants to win in the worst way. Now, on the flip side, I think Justin Rogers really wants to not just win, but he wants to make this a statement game as well.
Yeah, I really believe Rogers wants to pour the coals on this one. Not only just to make not only a statement, but a statement to the state that, because he's heard it. He's heard it. Well, Thomas County Central's done this, and this, but, I think he's going to make a statement before going to, before the big three, Houston, Lee, and Northside.
Yeah. So Greg Maddox says that his prediction is Central 42-10. Very well could be.
Yeah, I got it worse than that.
Daryl Britt, this is probably a really, really good segue into our next segment. Let's talk a little bit about the Wintersville Classic.
All right.
Daryl Britt, he's a big Cat fan, and he says, can we please talk about the upcoming Wintersville Classic?
Hey, calm down. We already know.
Right?
It's the biggest game. It's the biggest game in the state. It's the best rivalry in the state of Georgia. We know Wintersville Classic. You're going to get your chance. Patience, my friend.
That's right.
I have all my notes written out in front of me, which is very interesting.
Before you get there, I want to tell our audience, y'all stay tuned because Sam Horne, regular caller to the show, so he is going to be calling in a few minutes at 7:30, approximately 7:30, to tell us why he is convinced that his Valdosta Wildcats are ready to take down Lowndes and end this 5-game losing streak they're on to the Vikings. Now, before we take Sam's call, I'm going to play a short interview, just short little clip of an interview that I had last night where I was interviewing Todd Holcomb, editor of the Georgia High School Football Daily. You guys know Todd. He doesn't need an introduction. Basically, super sports writer for the state of Georgia. That's how I describe him. So we were talking a little short 3-minute segment of the interview last night, which was close to about an hour long. But 3-minute segment last night, we spent talking about rivalries and the Wintersville Classic. And here's Todd's take on it. So let me go ahead and show this video. I mean, truth be told, Valdosta was probably going to be a heavy favorite going into this game after that East Coweta loss. And now they're probably still going to be a favorite, but it's giving people pause. It's like, is this the real Lowndes program? Even with their young dudes, have they flipped the switch and now they're going to be the Lowndes of old? That's the big question now.
Yeah.
Sam, I'll be right with you.
I think too, you know, the big advantage that Lowndes has is they've played these 2 games.
Yeah.
You know, Valdosta has really not played anybody quite like that.
Yeah.
And you know, with high school teams, you know, you really, you know, because there's so much turnover, they're so young, you need to find out how good you are and where your weaknesses are, and you can't find that out unless you play a tough schedule. So Lowndes probably knows itself better than Valdosta does.
Sure.
Hey, Todd, Todd, the beginning of the year, I brought up American Heritage to play Lowndes. American Heritage won. I know that experience helped the coaches find some flaws. And, you know, I think when they play Valdosta, you're not going to see the same flaws that you did against American Heritage. I think I have Lowndes winning the game purely because their strength of schedule is more than double Valdosta right now. They played tougher teams from week 1 until next weekend.
Yeah,
well,
I agree with that. I mean, the only I would probably favor Lowndes too, to be honest. I mean, unless Valdosta, they got a really good defensive line, unless they just shut them down, you know, because Lowndes, they have an experienced quarterback, and although he's talented from what I understand, but unless they're just able to stuff them, you know, and you know, I think that the experience is going to be a big edge for Lowndes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, speaking of the Lowndes and Valdosta game, let's talk about, let me pick your brain about rivalries across the state. You've been around long enough to see, or at least. All right, so let me go ahead and end that segment right there. After we talk to Sam, I'll play the rest of that clip, Cole, because we talk about Warner Robins and Northside. But since Sam Horne, super fan for the Valdosta Wildcats, is on the line with us, I wanted to go ahead and give Sam a chance to convince all these listeners, all these viewers, Sam, why you are convinced that the Valdosta Wildcats will end its 5-year drought against the mighty Lowndes Vikings.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good.
We're good, man. We're good. Listen, we are sitting on the edge of our seats, just, you know, chomping at the bit, waiting for you to sell us on the mighty Valdosta Wildcats.
So, you know, we've been hearing all the rumbling.
Yeah.
That Valdosta hasn't played nobody.
Oh, okay.
And that Lowndes has played better competition than Valdosta. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The only team that I would say that really was a great team was American Heritage.
Okay.
Outside of that, Grayson was not good. If you go back and look at the teams that Grayson played, their opponent record was like 7-15. So they really haven't played nobody.
Okay.
Everybody keeps saying Valdosta ain't played nobody, but let's just go back to last year. Valdosta got beat by Lowndes 21-0, right?
Right.
With Ja'Cory Brown. This team this year with Valdosta is a whole lot better from last year. And we got a lot of kids that came back off that team from last year. Whereas with Lowndes lost the core of their team. Okay. Lowndes is very young this year. So, I mean, when you want to talk about the inexperience or they haven't played nobody, I think the things that Valdosta went through last year, all the rumbling, all the things that Valdosta has been through, will put them over the edge in the game Friday night. I think that Valdosta is more physical than Lowndes. I think that Valdosta. Wow. I think that Valdosta. Everybody is saying that Valdosta doesn't have an offense, but it's the scheme that Valdosta plays on offense. I mean, it's the scheme. Hard nose, we're going to run the ball, and we're just going to play good defense. Friday night, Lowndes will see a defensive line that they have not seen this whole year. out of American Heritage, out of East Coweta, out of Grayson. They haven't seen a defense like they're about to see Friday night. And I promise y'all, when I talk to y'all next week, y'all gonna say, Sam, you said it. This team right here is a different Valdosta team.
Sam, if y'all win, I ain't having you on next week.
Hey, Sam.
No, listen. I'm not even listening. I just want y'all to say, Sam said it. That's it. I'm not even gonna boast and brag about it. None of that. I just want y'all to say, Sam said it. The thing that you school did last year, like they went out and played their heart out for Coach Felton last year. Now they got something to play for, and then they hearing all these rumblings that's going on in the community about what's gonna happen when they play Lowndes and they haven't played nobody. Y'all gonna see Friday night is on and popping at Martin Stadium.
See, this is why I have Sam Horne on, because he is one passionate Valdosta Wildcat fan.
Well,
you can tell it. Now, Sam, Cole Moore has a question for you.
Yeah, I know. Look, you ain't got to sell me on that defense. You ain't got to sell me. You know, I'm a smart guy myself. When I see a great defensive front, and Valdosta has that. But Lowndes is talking about, I can attack the secondary. Well, will you please let these Lowndes County Vikings know that y'all got a couple guys that's some ball hawks over there in that back end for Valdosta?
Okay, so that's okay. They say they're going to attack the secondary, right?
Well, first of all, who said that we were going to attack the secondary?
No. Listen. So I done been to three Lowndes games this year.
Yeah.
And when Lowndes throw the ball, they only throwing the ball to one person. That's Kivas.
Okay.
That's Kivas. Now, we got a kid at Valdosta, Tim Roberson. He's tearing up the recruiting trail right now. He got 7 interceptions in the last 5 games. So he's caught an interception in every game that he's played in. So with that being said, at the end of the day, I just know that when it comes to Tim and it comes to Kivas, that's going to be a great matchup. But I know that Valdosta is not. I know that Valdosta is not going to allow Kivas just to beat them by himself. That's not about to happen.
Sam, do you think Valdosta will end up having to double team Kivas?
I think that Valdosta, because a lot of the routes that Lowndes play with Kivas or they run with Kivas are post routes where you're gonna have a safety in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's gonna be a lot of double teams on Kivas. I do, because at the end of the day, we can do that because we have the defensive front to do that.
Okay.
Like that quarterback gonna have 0.2 seconds to get that ball off. If he ain't getting that ball off fast, it's gonna be a long night.
0.2 seconds is not very long at all.
0.2 seconds. I promise y'all.
Yeah, you heard him. He said it's on and popping.
That's what he said.
It's on and popping.
That's what he said. Listen. So next week's show is going to be interesting. Either Sam is going to get on here and say, LG, I told you so, or Sam is going to get in here and I'm going to replay this clip for him.
Who Cole pick?
Cole is picking Valdosta.
I'm with the Cats. I think the Cats are too strong defensively. Now, I do think Lowndes
I think that's what I think. I will say this about Lowndes. LG. Last week, I did like the changes that they did. They made some changes on the defensive side, and then their scheme looked a whole lot better. But you know, I got my ear to what's going on in the community.
Yeah,
I've been hearing that Lowndes has been running a lot of hurry up this week in practice. But see, what people don't understand is that's offense is hurry up anyway. So you think you finna run a hurry up against a defensive front, and you think it's gonna work? Well, they've been running that since summer. So we're gonna see. You know, it's about cat and mouse. We're gonna see who got the better scheme, who come up with a better game plan. But at the end of the day, man, Valdosta just got SEC players on that D line.
Listen, man, we ain't mice. It's about cat and Vikings, not cat and mouse.
He called y'all a mice. Hey, I'm just gonna stand in the middle. I'm just gonna stand. Y'all two go at it.
Hey, it's gonna be a good game though. I predict the score to be 24-10. Valdosta.
You think it would be 24-10 Valdosta, and you agree? Yeah. Well, you know, you heard that little snippet from Todd Holcomb, reporter for Georgia High School Football Daily. He made 2 points that stuck out to me, Cole. One was he doesn't think he's on that bandwagon that Sam was talking about, where a lot of people think that Valdosta hasn't played a very strong schedule. So his question is, does Valdosta know itself? Does it know its weaknesses throughout the year to work on some of those things? I don't know what the weaknesses are, but his question was, does Valdosta know itself?
But LG, this is what people don't understand. We dealt with those weaknesses last year.
Okay.
This is a team a lot of these kids was on that team last year. Like,
okay.
I'm telling you, man, I think it's bigger. It's about heart, and it's about the drive just to want it with these kids at Valdosta this year. Like, if y'all, I wish y'all could just see how these kids relate to Coach Felton and how Coach Felton relate to these kids. Like, man, they'll run through a brick wall for this man. So when you got a whole team of kids that's just fired up and would do anything for a coach, man, it just takes you over the edge. And I think that's going to be the difference Friday night, man. I think Valdosta is just going to be, they're going to play with their heads off their net, man. Like, it's going to be crazy. I promise you it is.
Yeah. Well, Valdosta wants this game nobody wants this game more than that Valdosta community. Yeah. The players are going to come out there with their hair on fire. And that defensive front, LG, I hate to tell you, they may be the best in the state of Georgia.
I'm telling you, man.
Listen, if it were up to Sam, tonight's migraine moment is going to be that Lowndes rushing attack, because, Sam, you're saying that wall that you're talking about is that Valdosta defensive front is going to shut down that vaunted Lowndes rushing attack. That's what you're basically saying.
You ain't running on Valdosta. There's no running on Valdosta.
Yeah.
There's no running on Valdosta. Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this. Hey, LG.
Yeah.
LG. I'm gonna put it in comparison to this.
Okay.
Did you watch Patrick Mahomes Monday night when he played Brady?
Yeah, he was all over the place.
Did you see the difference in Patrick Mahomes' level of play compared to Tom Brady? Patrick Mahomes really wanted to win that game because of the last time he played in Temple, he got beat by Tampa Bay for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, so
he was really out there playing. He was playing out his mind. Like, he was doing things that you normally don't see NFL quarterbacks do.
Hey, hold up for a second. Hold up for a second. Let me ask the audience something. Guys, while Sam is on his delusional rant, go ahead and put your score prediction. Valdosta and Lowndes. We got some Lowndes fans on there. We got some Valdosta fans, Colquitt fans, all these fans are on the hotline tonight. So go ahead and put your score prediction in the comments while Sam finishes up his rant.
Oh my!
Hey, Larry, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, man.
Let's see what the chat line.
Hold on. Last year, Lowndes beat Valdosta 21-0, right?
Correct.
Okay. Who you think the better quarterback, Ja'Carri Brown or this young kid y'all got? And not just being biased, but we're just being honest when it comes to this.
Well,
who you think the better quarterback is?
That's a very easy question. A Ja'Carri Brown senior is definitely better than a Marvis Parrish sophomore. Now, when Marvis Parrish is a senior, that might be a different question. But right now, Ja'Carri Brown's the better quarterback.
That's going to be the difference. Right there is going to be the difference. Right there. That quarterback position is going to be the difference Friday night. I promise you it is. That's going to be the difference.
But I think Mr. Marvis is going to have a surprise for the Valdosta Wildcats. I can't tell you what it is, Sam, but we're going to have
come out there like Superman. You better come out there like Ja'Carri Brown.
Are you crazy? You better not tell them what it is.
But I think the better comparison question, Sam, is who's the better quarterback on the field this year? Is it Marvis, our sophomore quarterback, versus your sophomore quarterback? I think that's probably the better question.
Yeah.
Well, only reason why I compare it last year is because you beat a team like Valdosta last year. You beat them 21-0. And a lot of these kids that started this year was on that team last year.
I see. So your big point that you're trying to make is Valdosta's got a lot of returning starters.
Yes.
And that experience is going to overcome the Lowndes talent.
And then I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna take it back to 2000 when pros played the Boast at Valdosta.
Yeah.
Lions jumped out on Valdosta, right?
Yeah.
But guess what happened in that second half? Valdosta started making a comeback.
Yeah.
DeBose is on the record saying that was one of the most prolific games that he's ever coached in, and that he almost dropped the ball when it came to it, because if you give Valdosta one more quarter, they win that ball game. But I think that's going to be coaching is going to play a big part in it too, because Gage ain't never played in an environment like he's going to see fire tonight.
That's all I need to hear.
Cole, listen, I want to present to the members of the jury, Cole, that the last two statements, the last two comparisons that my friend Sam Horne just made, he referenced two games in which Lowndes beat Valdosta.
Yeah, you did. You beat Valdosta.
Yeah, but no offense, but I don't think you've played. And Valdosta's been known to have good defenses, but this right here is a special
is this the best defense ever that Valdosta's had?
No, I'm not gonna say ever.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say ever, but they are averaging through 6 ball games, LG, 5 points per game in 6 games.
And 5 of those games were against Pop Warner teams.
No, it wasn't.
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. That was a
chill. You got to play the game, right?
Hey, Cole, we could put it in comparison with Georgia last year. We could put it in the same comparison with Georgia. Georgia had one of the best defenses in college football.
Oh, no.
Our offense weren't prolific, but guess what? Georgia did what they had to do on defense, and they did just enough on offense. Same thing with Valdosta.
So Sam's argument with Georgia, if we follow the same logic that he's tried to use against Lowndes, is listen, Georgia is a great team, but look what Alabama did against them in 1982. That's basically the comparison.
Hey, all I'm gonna say, man, is that, I just hope it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be a good game.
Oh, it's a good football game. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be one of the best. I will go ahead and tell you, to the Valdosta community, the Lowndes community, go get your tickets early, like y'all always do, but go be loud, because this is gonna be one of the best Wintersville games y'all have seen in a long time.
I think this is probably going to be one of the most competitive.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
Listen, some of the scores that people are putting, Daryl Britt obviously is going to choose Valdosta. He says 28-3. Troy Davis says 24-17 Lowndes. Alicia Hilton says 28-21 Lowndes. Michael Broadwater 24-17 Lowndes. Steve Browning 14-3 Lowndes. Ben Beam is not from this area. He says Vikings 21-13. Travis Hart says 21-17 Lowndes. Glenn Reed Hodges Jr. says 24-7 Wildcats. Kenneth Hurst says 24-10 VHS. So I'm getting you see the trend here. If you're a Lowndes fan, obviously you're picking Lowndes. If you're outside of the Lowndes community, you're picking Valdosta, with the exception of Ben Beam. That's basically what's happening here.
There's a couple guys, and I'll go ahead and throw my score out there. I think it's 21-17 Valdosta.
You said 21-17 Valdosta. You want me to give my pick now, my score now, or wait till the Thursday night show? It might shock you guys.
I already know you're picking Lowndes, so it's just a score.
Sam, it's going to be Lowndes 35, Valdosta 17.
Oh, Sam, I didn't know you were going to stick with that score.
Did we lose Sam?
Sam got so disgusted with that score. He said,
I think we've lost Sam here.
I mean, you sent it to me earlier in the week, but I was like, nah, he's just joking. He don't really believe that score. The fact that you really believe that score is shocking.
So I think your question was, are you kidding? Are you playing up to the fans, or is that your real score or something like that?
Hold on. I'll tell you what I said. I said, that's got to be the homer in you.
Oh, that's right. That's what you
said.
I said. Lowndes 35, Valdosta 17.
Wow.
35-17.
I do want to remind people, I have this stat that goes along. I could have went further, but I'm a guy that believes in 20 years. Lowndes has really dominated Valdosta, 14-6 over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So that does play. I don't know how much you put into that. And Lowndes has had some great teams. I mean, when you start talking about in the early 2000s, 04, 05, and 07. But
listen,
again,
as of about either 8:30 or 9 o'clock this morning, maybe 10 o'clock, as late as 10 o'clock. I think there were like maybe 1,000 tickets left.
Altogether,
I think so.
Great job. So that is going to be I can't wait to see a picture. I'm sure I'm going to get an aerial picture from somebody. So, hey, Valdosta Lowndes fans, send me a message. If you get that aerial view, send it to me because I want to make sure. Because I know that's pretty cool. I always enjoy to see those looks of fans going to support both communities. Look, I got no dog in the fight or cat in the fight or Viking in the fight, however you want to say it. But I love high school football, and this is, Valdosta Lowndes it doesn't get any bigger than that in this state. Okay. So go support your teams, man.
It's going to be a fun game. That is for sure.
I bet you got goosebumps, man. You're wishing you could get to a time machine and go, let's go Friday.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I look forward to this game every stinking year. But I always, starting about Thursday morning, I always get butterflies in my stomach. That feeling that you get when you were a player, that feeling that you got before a big game. I feel the butterflies starting about Thursday morning.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, like, I really never got to experience, and I know it's big over there, but on a smaller level, Thomas County Central and Thomasville, this was the first year without COVID restrictions that we could really sit there and enjoy the game. When we rode up LG, and it was an hour and a half before kickoff. Yeah. And both sides was packed, and I was just like, oh, my God. The one place I can't get a sideline pass to. Dude, and I've been to a Wintersville Classic. I know how exciting it is. So, man, I do believe Valdosta is going to win. Don't shoot me, Lowndes fans. This is what I do.
Listen, Daryl Britt says he can't wait for Friday. He's already taken the day off.
Go tailgate. Yes, go tailgate.
Daryl, my man, that game does not start till 8 o'clock. You don't have to take the day off unless you just absolutely want to.
Go take off. Go tailgate. Let's go.
Listen, Glenn Reed Hodges, I'm not sure who he's a fan of, but he says, I've seen both teams. Valdosta has a championship defense. Lowndes is just too young at the QB position. Good kid. I would like to see the Vikings the next 2 years, just my opinion. And we value your opinion, Glenn. We don't think you're right. We don't think you're wrong. We do value your opinion.
I ain't saying he's wrong. I think I've told LG this privately. And I've told some Lowndes fans, I think the Parrish kid will be special. But
he's a good quarterback.
Lowndes has got to let him grow up. Let Zach Grage, I know how painful y'all may think this is for me to say. Let Zach Grage, let Coach Sutton groom him. Be fans for once, Lowndes. Be fans and let the coaches, they get paid to do this. Let Zach Grage and Sutton groom him up. And I promise you, in a couple of years, you will not be disappointed.
Hold on. It's a Lowndes administrator calling me, but I got to tell him to. I'll call him back in a few minutes. He might be calling.
This better not be because I'm saying this either. That's all. No.
I don't really know why.
It's just the timing.
Let me call you back in a few minutes. Finishing up show.
God knows. See, this is why we can't.
Just talking about Wintersville game. Listen, it may be a coincidence. You're going on and on about Lowndes, and an administrator's trying to call me. He's like, "Get that knucklehead off." No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I have no idea why he's calling. It might be to talk about some of these questions that we see on the White Oak Investment comment line, like. Are they doing the lights anymore? We got the new LED lights, Cole, that you've seen at UGA games, Alabama. I don't know if Florida has them yet or not. But anyway, Steve Nichols just distracted me. He asked a question. No, that's not it. Who's the girl with the beard? He's picking on your anti-Lowndes comments. He's picking on your anti-Lowndes comments.
No, I love Lowndes.
I know.
They feed me well. Well, that might be in Valdosta. No, smoking pigs in the county, right?
It is. That it is.
Hey, man, I love y'all, man. I love Lowndes fans.
Uh-oh. We lost Cole again. Hey, Cole, before we go too much. Hey, Cole, let me Hey, before we get too much further, let me go ahead and remind you guys, we do have other sponsors like the White Oak Investment Hotline and the comment line that you guys have been wearing out tonight. And we want to thank all of you guys for tuning in, being so engaged. But we also want to thank White Oak Investment, the group with Kyle Conger. He does a great job, guys. You know, the market's back up the last couple of days. You know, it's been down, up and down all year long. Kyle does a great job with helping me navigate those, turbulent financial waters. Let me go ahead and mute Cole's line right there. Cole, I had to mute your line for a second. There was a little bit of background noise. So I want to thank Kyle Conger, 229-850-8848. Guys, it's never too late to get a financial checkup. Maybe you've never talked to a financial planner before. Maybe now's the time to do that, right? So anyway, if you are interested, give Kyle a call, 229-850-8848. He'll talk to you on the phone. He'll meet you in person. He'll meet you at your house, wherever you want to be, because he's that kind of guy. We also want to thank Matthew Godwin with Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road. Just was at the Touchdown Club last night, the Viking Touchdown Club. And one of the guys came up to me and says, hey, working with Matthew earlier today on some business phones. So anyway, if you have the need for a new iPhone 14, Android accessories, or even small business accounts, give my buddy Matthew Godwin a call. Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road, 229-244-5855. Read the screen, Larry. Just read the screen. 244-5855.
I mean, how difficult is it?
I know. Just give myself some self-talk there. And I referenced his comment a while ago, but this is our guy, Steve Nichols. He has a great show Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Talks about Cole. I think this guy, Steve, is in love with freedom because he talks about it all the time. That's why he calls his show Freedom with Steve Nichols. So
I like freedom too. So I love his show. And not trying to interrupt you. If you're even a little bit into politics or entertainment, please go watch this guy's show. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sure that he appreciates you tuning in Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. You can catch him on our website, freedomnetworks.com. That's Freedom Networks, spelled with an X, WORX.com. Or you can catch him on Facebook, Freedom with Steve Nichols. And finally, commercial banking company. If you're in the Lowndes, Valdosta, Hayhira, really this entire area, and you're looking for a hometown bank, you want to walk through the door and people know you by name, you want to be, you want to trust your hometown banker. These are the folks to call. Commercial banking company. Whether you have a need for a personal checking account, savings, CDs, auto loans, mortgage loans, or business loans, 229-242-7600. That's commercial banking company. We want to thank all of our sponsors of the PreGame Blitz and the Viking Nation Live on Thursday night.
Yep. Hey, LG. I want to address one comment. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I just happened to look at it. Kenneth Hurst asked me if I'm going to Tifton Friday night.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to Tifton. I'm going to go take my family. We're going to get something to eat. Probably meet up with some of my family and say hello, and I'll have all the good stuff. I don't know if some of the Tifton administration will have a warm welcome for Mr. Cole Moore, but I will be there, and the best team will win Friday.
You're going to be on the sideline, of course.
Yeah. No, probably not.
Oh, you're not? Oh, I thought you were on the TCC sideline every game.
No, not no. Well, if you're going to be on the sideline pass, you got to kind of have a home field advantage type deal.
I got you.
Yeah, and so we're going to let the best team win. I already know who's going to win, but I will be a can of thirst. If you're going now, let me know. Send me a message, and we'll have a couple conversations at the game Friday night. But yes, I will be in Tifton.
Cole, do you need a security detail going back to Brody Field?
No, I think I'm going to behave. That way
Oh.
I'm not, because sometimes, a lot of times, the judge in Tifton doesn't work Mondays, right? So I can't get in trouble and be there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and have to go see the judge Monday.
Gotcha. Now I don't think there's any really big games in 1-5A this coming week. Now Region 1-4A, they've got really no big games. You got Westover at Bainbridge in 1-4A. 1-3A, you got Carver Columbus at Thomasville. That could be potentially a big game because Thomasville really needs a win. They
beat Monroe.
Yeah, they're 1-0 in the region, but Carver's one of those teams that's expected to basically win this region. So if Thomasville can knock off Carver and Columbus, they'll be in the Catbird seat at 2-0.
Yeah.
Now, Region 1-2A. Listen, this is turning into a competitive region, Cole. You got Worth County at 2-0, Cook County 2-0, Fitzgerald 1-0, Berrien 1-1, then Sumter is 0-1, Dodge 0-2, Jeff Davis 0-2. So the four teams right now at the top: Worth, Cook, Fitzgerald, and Berrien.
Wow. What a Cinderella story for Coach Hammond and that Worth County football team.
Absolutely.
They are
6-0.
Riding high, and they have a very potent offense. Chip Cooper, the quarterback, is a very good football player. Y'all need to go check his highlights out. He's pretty good. Hey, 6-0, you can't ask for better. I think they play Fitzgerald soon. If not, is it this Friday?
Fitzgerald's going to be at Worth County this Friday.
Wow, man, that's the biggest game in the peanut capital of the world, and God knows how long.
Cook County is off. Berrien will be at Sumter County. So listen, the magic number for Berrien is 2, and it can go down to 1 after this Friday night. That's one of these two teams that Berrien has to win, because I don't think they're going to beat Cook or Fitzgerald. That's just me. Anything can happen, but that's just me. Okay, so those are the big games through Region 1-2A. Now, Region Class Single A, Division 1 is kind of confusing with the smallest division there. Brooks County, no surprises at the top, but they really haven't played a region game yet. They're currently 4-1. Irwin County's 4-1. Pelham and Bacon are bringing up the rear. Pelham's 2-5. Bacon is 1-5. It looks like it's going to be a showdown between Brooks County and Irwin County.
Most likely.
Yeah. And so that really wraps up
they are who we thought they were.
Yeah. No doubt. So you are going to be in Tifton this week. I'm going to be at the Wintersville Classic. Your game kicks off at when? 7:30? Gotcha. So the other big games in region, and we'll end it with this, the other big games in Region 1-7A, since almost the entire region was off last week, is we know that Valdosta is going to be at Lowndes. Camden is going to be at Richmond Hill. So Camden County is probably going to take that one. Colquitt is going to be off this week. So they're getting ready for region play. So anyway, two big games in this region: Valdosta at Lowndes, Camden at Richmond Hill. And you guys, we've already covered your games that's coming up. So, Cole, what's your final word for tonight before we wrap it up?
No, man, I just encourage everybody, go support your team, go support your community, go out and catch a game, go support these young men that work hard, go support your band, your cheerleaders who put so much into Friday night, and go whoever your team is.
Yeah. And guys, I'm sorry. This is the second week in a row. There's so much to talk about in the high school landscape. And we've been wanting to get to Georgia and Florida State. That I wouldn't want to get do that in the last 15 minute segment of the show. We just run out of time. So we're going to try a concerted effort next week to start, blending in a little bit of college football because it's a fun college season, especially being in SEC country. But all you Georgia fans, y'all need to calm down. Georgia is just fine. They're the number 2 ranked team. We fell for. And I'm personally, Cole, I'm kind of glad that Georgia got the number 1 label off its back.
Georgia needs to be.
It's very difficult to play with that kind of pressure on your back week after week.
Georgia's never played well with it on their back.
Never.
They just haven't. Look, and it's not just the Florida fans speaking. It's just they never have. It's something about it.
There's a lot of pressure because you're no longer chasing anyone. Everyone is targeting you, right? The same thing. Alabama has been doing it for so long. They're accustomed to it by now. But Georgia, it's newfound territory for us. So
yeah, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that. But yeah, go.
Well, as Cole keeps his mouth shut, guys, that's going to do it for our show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to the Pregame Blitz. It's Thursday night, guys. If you're a Lowndes fan, tune in to the Viking Nation Live. And we'll get into more of the details of that game, what we can expect, what we speculate will happen. We'll try to answer some of these questions about a potential new scoreboard, about the LED lights, about some of the special things we got planned, that kind of stuff. So if you're a Lowndes fan, tune in Thursday night, 7 o'clock. So until then, for Cole Moore, I'm Larry Godwin. You guys have been watching the Pregame Blitz. We're out. Go Vikings.
Thank you.